This is the box that Woody, or the Waddling Gosling, came in from HLW, and this is another box of a different machine. You can see it says Bachmann on it, and inside is a red box. So that's just to compare the sizes of the boxes. It's a Spectrum. Because I liked the Waddling Gosling and the look of it going around the track, I've bought the Bachmann style truck, which is the, well, it calls it a rail truck. That's what it says about it on there. So I'm going to have a look at them both side by side. So there we have the Bachmann rail truck, and there we have the HLW one. Interestingly, I was able to pick this up for of the same order of price. This is much heavier. It's a die-cast model. It has opening driver's door on it, opening bonnet with some engine detail inside there. Lots more die-cast, but it's lost that little pip off there. Not lost it completely, it's in the box. It had fallen off. And you've got the operational drive shaft coming through. And because I've read about these, I've seen a little bit more. So you've got a gearbox in there, a motor in there. So your motor's actually inside under there. There's a gearbox inside under there. There is a representation of controls. You've got the windscreen in there. Yeah, you can't quite see it, but there's a gear stick. If you open the door, you can see it. Gear stick and controls in there. So it's got a lot more detail to it. Maybe you can see it through there. If I can get it focused. Yep, you can see all sorts of detail, including pedal detail. And then the other thing that you do have is, I don't know if that just clips off, you've got a circuit board underneath the box, the representation of the box in the back, and room to fit a sound card apparently, and a 3-position switch. Don't know what that's about, but it comes complete with the instructions. So you've got plenty of little electronics in there. Might be for the lights and things. So there we are. That's my first look at this, though I have read about it. Quite pleased with it, really, in terms of what you get for the money. I've not seen it run yet. That'll be the next thing. Not that I'm displeased with this one. I'm very happy with that now. But here we have something which is a completely different type of machine, and it does have its faults, as I've seen on the forums, which might be something that needs to be dealt with before it does much running, apparently. Three different wagons in a row. Gas mechanical Davenport, a Woody, rail truck. Oh, that white soon wipes it out, doesn't it? I just want to say that I love this for the detail. Well, it's like those die-cast cars, or die-cast vehicles that you get. Look, working door handle on the door there. So the door actually locks and the handle unlocks it. The detail that I can't show you inside of the instrumentation. You've already seen the bonnet that lifts up to reveal the quite nicely detailed engine under there. And other things, but it's the fact that rather than just have a motor driving the wheels, they've actually implemented that looks like a differential. Inside I've no idea, but you do have a universal joint there and differential and prop shaft going up here to where the gearbox would be. So you've got representation of that. You have the fuel tank up here and then the fuel line coming down and the exhaust pipe. All of that is nicely represented. And on this front bogie, that is quite a nicely detailed front bogie. I'm hoping that the focus on the camera is better there. But look at the detail on there, the springs, the brakes, presumably that wheel pattern is something good, but really lovely detail. I don't know what this thing is on here, the compressor or whatever, but the lamp isn't just stuck on with a cheap plastic support. You've got good representation of whatever is supporting the lamps. And the grille nicely looked at. So amazingly good detail on this. Sorry, it's a lamp. Very impressed with it. Particularly, you know, that there are issues that people have spoken about in terms of its running. But all of that detail is basically a die-cast model, which you know, you do get these die-cast models, which has been motorized so that it will run on G-scale track, and it's quite weighty because of that die casting. And we know we get this sort of quality from die-cast models. They've incorporated all of that quality into this model. I don't know, maybe I can get a bit of a shot inside there. You can see the yellow of the gear lever appearing in there. I'm sorry, it's very tricky to just get it, but there we go. I think we've got something in there. And the foot pedals even on the floor. And the seat looks as though it's been upholstered because it's got the representation of the pattern that you would have from upholstered seating in there. There we go. You can tell from what I'm saying that I am impressed and pleased with this as a model, and for the money I think excellent value, given that a lot of the standard locos that you get are just plastic. This is a die-cast model with functional working components, and just as a static model is very nicely finished. It's not UK outline, but I am really prepared to make an exception in the case of this model just because it is so nicely executed. There we go. Pleased to be able to get this. And a couple of other little things. Nicely moulded under here, but there's a separately applied fine wire there representing the connection from the accelerator to the carburetor. And you know, there's no necessity to model that. Inside the engine bay compartment, get the light on it, the fan, as you read about this in other places, is attached to the end of the motor. You see that fan actually turns. You can't see that when the model is running. You can't see that from outside the model, that fan is turning. And the pedals and other controls inside the cab are very, very hard to see. So a lot of attention to detail that wouldn't normally be seen, or isn't really seen in normal operation, including the windscreen, which flips and moves up and down. So we have a windscreen there that moves, is articulated. All of that extra attention to detail is really pleasing in a model. It just shows what can be done for the money, because this wasn't phenomenally expensive for a model that's electric powered. And yeah, there we go. Just lots of little bits and pieces. Documented elsewhere, I know, so I'm just repeating some of what is seen elsewhere, but just expressing my own pleasure and delight at having had this. And I know I have die-cast static models which have that level of detail in it. The impressive thing about this is Bachmann have managed to persuade the manufacturer to turn this into a model that actually runs using the prop shaft drive to a differential on the back wheels, and that is just one extra level of not detail but sophistication in this model, even if there are issues with the running properties because of that whole chain of gears and connections between the actual motor itself and the running wheels. But let's put that aside because it is such a nice model.